Until you learn how to say exactly how you feel in the moment and validate your emotions when you're going through difficult times, it's going to seem very difficult and challenging for you to control your emotions. Welcome or welcome back. It's Ty Guidance. Let's just get straight into today's video. Speaking from experience, what has helped me along my healing journey and anything that I recommend to anybody watching this, which is you, make sure you're subscribing, turn on the post notification bell. Okay, is that it is normal and it is okay for you to be sad. It's normal for you to be happy. It's normal for you to be confused. It is normal for you to just not know what it is that you want to feel. Why? Because you're a human being. And human beings go through a lot of emotions daily, yearly, and honestly since birth. You've been crying out the womb since you were a child. You're going to continue to cry. Why? Because it's normal and it's healthy. When you invalidate how you feel, when you don't speak your truth, when you don't say what it is that you're feeling or how certain situations and people's affects you, it's only going to bother you. And when it starts to bother you, it can mess with you psychologically. It can affect you emotionally. It can affect you physically and financially. Your mental health is connected to your overall health. Health is wealth. So if mentally you're unstable, emotionally you're imbalanced, physically you're not in shape, it's going to show up in your reality. So what can we do to learn how to control our emotions? The first thing you have to do is express how you feel. In order for you to express how you feel, you have to understand that what you're going through is valid. Sometimes we're not taught emotional intelligence. Sometimes we didn't have friends and family who believed in us or who gave us confidence or who showed us certain things, because it's one thing for somebody to tell you something, it's another when they show you. So when you don't grow up with knowing this, you may feel uneducated or you may feel unaware, and you may cause yourself to compare yourself to people that you see, whether it's on social media, in school, your everyday life, or whatever it is. And once again, this affects your mental health. This causes these insecurities and doubts and wounds, right? It could stem from childhood trauma. It could stem from growing up in dysfunction, corrupted, confusing, conflicting environments. And as you grow older, you think there's something wrong with you. So psychologically, you feel confused, which, like I said, plays a major part. So in order for you to learn how to control these lack of knowledge, these lack of awareness, or these doubts that you feel, is to accept that you were not taught certain information. You have to validate what you went through as a child. And this only causes you to feel uncomfortable temporarily, because you're actually addressing what it is. You're actually going to find a solution. The whole purpose of this video and any other videos, or just in life as you're healing yourself, is to find solutions and move forward by accepting what was. Unfortunately, you can't go back to the age of 5. You can't go back to the age of 7. I know if we both could, we probably would, but that's not the reality. We have to learn how to be practical. We have to learn that we grew up in certain environments. We have to validate what we saw and how it made us feel. And yes, it could literally stem from at the age of 7 or 5. It's not until you become conscious or you realize that you want to heal, that you want to do better, that you are aware of how you were raised. You may not have known you lived in a dysfunctional household because that was normal for you. That was what you saw. That was what you heard. That was, based on your community. That's just what it was. And like I said, it's not until you grow older or your feelings that you've been trying to suppress come up, because you're exploding, because you're not accepting how you feel physically. You don't feel healthy. You want to rot in bed. Mentally, you just feel confused, you feel conflicted, you feel like you're easily influenced, you can't make decisions for yourself, or just being in relationship. It shows up in your relationships, at work, at school, your partners, whatever it is. So learning that you only knew what you were taught, and accepting that you used to be angry, accepting that you used to be mad, accepting the fact that maybe you didn't grow up financially stable. Maybe you did grow up in poverty. Maybe you were abused psychologically, mentally, or even physically. Like, that is what you have to learn how to embrace. And in order for you to embrace that, you have to communicate that. Like, learning to accept what you used to feel and how it made you feel, and allowing yourself, which is going to be the second thing, to sit with your emotions, is going to help you control your emotions. Because in order for you to control something in a positive way, not in a manipulative or negative way, you have to be able to understand, you have to be able to comprehend why this is affecting you, how it's affecting you, and once again, what we can do moving forward. So the second thing is allowing your emotions to be what they are. Do not deny them. Do not sugarcoat them. Do not sweep them underneath the rug. Do not try to manipulate, or in this situation, try to suppress what it is that you felt. So if you were angry because you grew up in poverty, you have every reason to be mad. That could affect you because maybe you slept on the floor, maybe you didn't have the nicest clothes, maybe you used to be hungry, like maybe you seen certain things as a child, maybe you were abused, maybe you were SA. Like, you have to accept the fact that when you were 5, 6, 7, 10, even a couple of months ago this year, that you were angry. You have to understand why you were angry. And you have to say, I was angry because of this. Maybe you were sad because you used to get bullied. Maybe you didn't have anybody to defend you. Maybe you grew up in a single parent household. Maybe you didn't have parents. Maybe you were in the system. Like, I felt sad because this and this. Anything that you can recall. And of course, as you are learning to validate these emotions and not trying to deny them, it may cause you to feel sad. You may start to be triggered. You may start to cry. You may start to feel that anger come out. You need to allow it to be what it is in order for you to purge it. You have to be able to accept that this is what I felt. The longer you try to deny anger and frustration, which is a part of grieving, the longer you're going to feel stuck and stagnant, and you're going to have the PTSD by holding on to memories and people, places, and things who are no longer in your life or have been removed. And unfortunately, unless these people who hurt us and betrayed us and harmed us and did these things come back and apologize with changed behavior, they're going to live their life. You have to continue to live your life. So the third thing, after we learn to embrace and accept, we allow our emotions to be what they are but not denying them, is isolating and taking a moment to self-reflect, which is going to cause us to create distance and cut off anything or anybody who was a part of how we felt and did not allow us to feel seen or allow us to be heard. My camera got cut off. So when you are healing, it's really imperative for you to learn to build a relationship with yourself for multiple reasons. But the main reason is because you're the only person who knows how you feel. You can tell other people how you feel. You can talk to other people. But at the end of the day, as your favorite mental health specialist, a therapist, or a counselor, it is still up to you to move forward and to heal from what has happened to you, because it did not affect anybody else but you. Now, this doesn't mean other people were not involved or were not aware, but if they are not trying to understand you or, like I said, accept you, we can only do so much. Your therapist is there to hear you, to confide in you, to validate you, to reassure you. But the information, including myself, that is given to you is for you to apply. You have to still live your life. Like I said, the people, places, and things, unfortunately, unless they come back with changed behavior, the world's not going to stop just because you're having a bad day. And that's why it's so important for you to separate yourself, sit with yourself, and allow yourself to feel what you feel. And in this time of isolation, resting is important. Taking naps, not doing the most, doing less is more in this situation, and 99% of the times, a lot of other situations. But for this specifically, doing less, not stressing yourself out, not beating yourself up, because you have to realize, if it took you 20, 30, 40 years to learn information and you're unlearning that information, you're going to go through withdrawals. So you may not want to react and respond to people because you may be easily triggered. So in order for you to understand your triggers, it's really important that you make time for yourself. And in this time, like I said, you're resting, you're doing less, you are journaling how you feel, you are going to your therapist, you are going to a counselor, you're booking a session with me at tyguidancesummer.com. All the information will be down in the description box below. You're going to your guidance counselor, you're finding friends and family that you can confide in and trust, and expressing how you feel without feeling like a burden, without feeling like you're just problematic or you're chaotic. Because you have to understand, I'm gonna make this into a separate video, everyone may not be able to resonate with you or sympathize with you because they haven't gone through what you went through. And I know what it's like to feel like you're alone. And once again, we're always alone. The 1%, we're always alone 99%. That's what I meant to say. The 1% is when we are around other people, when we have to be engaging and being social. That's why the 1%, when you're not around those people, 99% of the time, you have to build a relationship with yourself. You have to realize what's worthy of your time and energy. You have to realize everything that you went through, and that moving forward and healing could take years, it could take days, it could take decades. There's no timeline. There's no timeline, and you don't have to rush. But during that time, like I said, if you are used to being around certain people, places, and things, and you're moving and you're cutting access and you're no longer around these things, it's going to affect you, especially if you cared and you had feelings, which as a human being, it's normal and it's common. It's not like you didn't feel any type of way that people betrayed you or hurt your feelings, or maybe people just grew apart. Whatever it is that you felt, it's not to deny it, but to accept that in that time, in that moment, you did what you knew, and so did everything and everybody else. And it's time for you to just process what has happened to you. That's why your isolation time and period is really, like I said, really, really important, and it's mandatory. If you cannot sit with yourself for a couple of months, a couple of days, even a couple of years, and reflect on what you went through, how it made you feel, you're going to continue to live your life and feel miserable. You're going to continue to live your life and feel stagnant. You're going to continue to feel like you're lonely, and trying to get in other relationships, trying to do other things to distract you, it's not going to help you. It may help you temporary, like short term, but long term, it's going to end up coming back to you. Like what you put out comes back to you, especially if you're a conscious individual. You're going to start to feel guilty. You're going to start to feel embarrassed. You're going to start to feel angry and mad and frustrated. And instead of, like I said, denying or invalidating these things to grieve, sit with it. And in the beginning, anything you do for the first time may feel uncomfortable. So it's like when you are sitting and making time for yourself, you may feel lonely, but it's like you were alone when you were in dysfunction. But because you had codependency issues and attachment issues, you tolerated it. And when you tolerate disrespect and people, places, and things that are not for you, you end up feeling like you just can't live your life and move forward. And that's not the truth. When you learn to separate yourself from anything or anybody who cause any type of pain, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically, however, and you create the distance, you will realize that your life is going to continue to get better, and your life was even better before. So during this isolation period, it's really important you identify who you are, what you went through, and in this time, you gain the confidence and the wisdom and the discernment to speak up for yourself, to acknowledge certain situations, to say how you feel in the moment, set certain boundaries when you're in relationships or new environments or new jobs, and figure out what you want to do. Like, do you want to physically move? Do you want to physically separate yourself? Do you want to cut off certain people forever, short term, long term? Do you need to create distance? Do you need to have conversations? Do you need closure? Like, all of this stuff is for you to identify, and it's really important that you have a level mind. And as you are learning to deal with your emotions, as you're learning to be angry by yourself, being sad by yourself, you're building character, you're building strength, and you're building the confidence for you to learn how to control your emotions, because our emotions are going to fluctuate. They may be good one day, they may be bad the next. The goal is to understand how to react and respond to certain situations, as well as certain people, places, and things, so we're not manipulated, we're not being abused, we're not staying in environments that are no longer serving us and end up hurting ourselves. So if you have questions, comments, or concerns and this video resonates with you, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Like I said, make sure you're following, subscribe. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And follow me on all social media platforms. They'll be down in the description box below. And like I said, if you want a one-on-one session based off of more intimacy and you want to get to know me just as much as I want to get to know you, go to my website at tigerheartedsummer.com. And when you follow me on social media, on TikTok and Instagram, I will be going live. Once we reach our goal on YouTube, I'll be doing the same. Basically, ask you guys questions and answers. Of course, different platforms, different agendas, right? Different ideas and topics and stuff like that. But on TikTok and Instagram, I also post on my story like a poll to see what we want to talk about, what we need to continue to focus on, what we need to separate, or just where we're at. Because once again, there's no one size when it comes to mental health. So take what resonates, leave the rest. And if you have questions, comments, or concerns, let me know by following me once again on social media. All the platforms will be down in the description box below. And let me know if you want to continue to make videos like this, or if you want me to change the topic, or if you have something you want me to address, or just need understanding or a level of comprehension. But in order for you to control your emotions, you have to process them, you have to accept them, and you have to not deny and be embarrassed or afraid to speak on them. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.